Welcome to TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. And this is me, Oberon, with my show, Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. What's going on in your love life or in your deepest relationships? So let's just put those aside there. And I'd like to tell everybody that Super Tarot Love Month is coming up, where we will have a whole month of Valentine Day-like activities in most of our shows, special emphasis on love and relationships, of course, and that means I'm changing the format of this show. I'm going to be using a different deck and maybe some slightly different things going on. It's going to be a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new, and I hope you'll join me for that. So anyways, as I was saying before, the Outlook is a weekly exploration of emotional life, mostly emphasizing romantic or deep friendship kind of issues in our lives. And I do it for each sign of the zodiac, but I kind of weigh the cards around their elemental quadrants. So I pull in the energy of that kind of thing too. And I always start off with a reading from the Isis Tarot, which I use as our collective thought for everybody. So I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle that up and do that. And of course, I'm here in the TFT Tarot for Today Esoteric Library, so you may get a glimpse here of some tomes of some sort. The statues are things that we've used in some ceremonies to actually perform weddings for people. We had a few people that liked the theme of Eros and Psyche. That was quite interesting event. At any rate, let's focus here on the Isis Tarot and a reading for everyone. And our card for the collective, 3, water, and it's reversed. Just go ahead and put that right there. Depression and arrogance, pretensions and coquetry. Boy, that's a word you don't hear every day. Vain and frivolous, wasteful, sensitive to flattery, lack of refinement, newly rich manners, desires, stagnation and depression. There's the big D word again. A barren period, poverty. Watch out for people who come to borrow. All right, so that's our collective thought. And yeah, you know, water is usually associated with the emotions. So when reversed, the indication would seem to be contrary for sure. So take that to mind. All right then, so as I mentioned before, we're going to do this reading for the signs of the zodiac. And we are going to divide up the cards by their native elemental quadrants, but we are calling them in the order as they move around the zodiac. I have to say that my deck, which I use exclusively for this reading, the Enchanted Tarot by Amy Zerner and Monte Farber, has actually won the battle I will not try to do the riffle thing. My fingers that once used to be more capable with it just don't cut it anymore, and it tends to flop around helplessly, falling on the floor. So I may just, you know, do this kind of thing where I can riffle it around a little bit too and mix it up. I think this one will work for me. Hopefully everyone else can understand my methodology here or see the reason for it. So we're going to go ahead now and pack it together. And because I'm doing this for the signs of the zodiac as ordered by their elemental sign, their elemental quality, I will make 4 cuts to the deck. And that first one is, of course, our air signs, followed by our fire signs, our water signs, and then our earth signs. However, I will be calling the cards, the zodiac cards, from the natural order of the zodiac. So let's go. So first in the zodiac is Aries. And Aries has the Ace of Hearts. The Ace of Hearts is like the Ace of Cups. So Aries may find that there's a new opportunity for them. Maybe it's in romance, or maybe it's in the beginning of something they really love that maybe involves working with the people they really love. So maybe a new partnership or new project or situation. I'm sure it's destined to bring a lot of contentment is what it looks like. So then we move to Taurus, the earth sign. And it's the Four of Pentacles. Has this come up before for Taurus? I think that in the way of emotionality, Tauruses are really holding closely to certain things they love, and maybe it's also about the idea that there's some competition or there's some other pull on those things that they favor and that they don't want to let go. And so this could be very applicable if you're a Taurus that's in a relationship where there's competition for the person. You know, like maybe it's a semi-open dating field, but it's narrowing down. It almost sounds like the Bachelor or Bachelorette competition. And that's a clue or a hint about Super Tarot Love Month. But at any rate, that's what you Tauruses have to contend with, is hanging on to something. And it's really kind of maybe pulling some very possessive feelings out of you. So from there we move to Gemini, our air sign. And Gemini has the Nine of Pentacles. And Gemini, maybe they're sitting tight this week. Maybe they are looking at the emotional things going on around them, and they're feeling really good about a sense of comfortability with that. They feel like they have everything, everyone in the place that they want them to be. So if it's about relationships, you're really satisfied, you sort of like the relationship you have. It could also be saying, too, for some Geminis that maybe they have a duality about their relationships, and that maybe on some sense they enjoy the sense of being a part of a partner or being in a dating routine. But they also may look at themselves truly, though, as a separate entity from that. You know, like that whole Gemini two sides of the coin thing. So they're in a partnership, but they're sort of, you know, not in a way. And I don't know how to explain that because I'm not a Gemini, but it just could be one of those things that is germane to Geminis, that maybe they separate things at a certain level. So you're welcome to leave a comment if you are a Gemini. finally, to the water signs in this first overall quadrant, and that's Cancer. And Cancer has the Eight of Hearts. And our Eight of Hearts here is the Eight of Cups. And Cancers may be feeling that there are some things that they want to kind of leave behind, some troubled waters, or some situations that they don't feel fulfill them. And they want to walk or move towards something that is more fulfilling or feels more spiritual, more happy for them, or just more pleasant, a goal that they feel is luckier for them. A lot of times this card shows the full moon overhead and the person's walking towards it. And whenever I see the full moon in any of these cards, I sort of feel this is saying there's some favor or luck going on here. So maybe Cancers feel they're luckier in the realm of love, you know, because this is Cups, if they maybe move their attentions ahead, that maybe they are leaving behind some emotional situations that haven't worked out. So Cancers may be breaking up or maybe changing the way a relationship operates in their lives, or maybe the level of access to that. Okay, so we're back again to fire signs, our second quadrant of elements. And fire signs, that's Leo. And, you know, it's interesting because today's the day that we go into Mercury retrograde, January 14th. But I'm seeing a lot of Cups cards showing up for these readings so far. So Leo, you have the King of Hearts, the King of Cups. Hearts are like cups. And of course, this pertains to a number of Leos I know. I think they're really larger than life in some sense of it. You know, they're just really the kings or captains of their field, mostly in a good way, of course. They're very magnanimous. They're very charitable and generous, except when they're not. I'll just say that. So what this card says for this week, I think, is that Leos are sort of in their key environment of being kind to people and really looking out for people and maybe helping other people specifically in emotional matters. And maybe you are the person, Leo, who will be looked at to give some counseling or some good advice of some sort. If it's not any of those things, maybe if it's just about your own relationships, maybe it's really saying that if you're going out into the dating field, you really are going to try to put your best qualities on display. Or if you already are in a relationship and you're taking it to some other level, you want to also consider that too, that you're really trying to be the best Leo that you can be. So then from Leo, we move to the Earth sign Virgo. And Virgo has Six of Pentacles. And that's kind of interesting because I think of this card as a service card, a card that shows a sense of service or praise for service or expectations that are fulfilled because of service. And of course, that's very much Virgo too, in a way too. Virgo is the house that tends to rule service, work, those kind of things. So there's a transactional quality about interactions with this card. But this is a good card at this time for this week because I think what it's saying is that you feel really like you can give a lot more of yourself, a lot more of your emotions and your love and care to a greater degree of people because you're finding some spiritual or some other kind of reward in doing that. You're feeling a certain kind of joy for the joy of doing, Virgo. And you know, that really is almost all Virgos I know. They really do enjoy being service persons. So I think this is just saying this week is a highlight to that. And I don't know why, because with Mercury retrograde, you would think that maybe some of this stuff would be kind of skewed. But maybe, you know, Virgos are just sort of hanging in there. And I'm thinking to myself, is Virgo have Mercury as one of its ruling planets? I might have to check on that and put that in the data below on the screen later when I'm producing this, but it just sort of hit me. So rock on, Virgos. So that was Earth signs, Virgo. So now we're going to move to the air signs, and that would be Libra. And Libra has a 6-2, 6 of Swords. And I think that Libra is saying this week that in the way of emotional relationships, we are ready maybe to move away from one. It may be a primary relationship. This is really the troubled waters. I think I mentioned that with the other card a few moments ago. But this is really, that was the 8 of Cups, but this is really the troubled waters. This is somebody who has decided pretty much to move somewhere else to where they feel they can leave what hardships or what troubled feelings they were having. And I'm going to say of course, it's about a relationship for Libra. And it may be in the way of Libra that it might be a larger than life relationship, that maybe you feel that from a more community or social media, social activity realm, that you may feel, something you've been involved in is more problematic for you now, and you might want to move on. If it is about relationships, of course, I think a lot of this is driven by the fact that Libras may always want to seek justice and fairness and balance in most things, including their relationships. And you may have just come to the realization that there's not a trust you can have in whatever this is about, whether it's a very specific relationship or a situation that involves relationships of various sorts. So just going to let it go with that, my friends in the Libras. And we're going to move on now to the water signs. And of course, water signs are Scorpio for this quadrant. And we have the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles, Scorpios, I think this is a good time for you to really think about big projects, and maybe big projects that really are about yourself too, in a way that really express your love of creativity. And I think maybe this is talking mostly about your relationships too, that maybe this is the time for you to show how much you love and care and help something flourish there. Maybe it's time for you to work on something in your range of relationships that you haven't been taking care of, and you need to put a little bit of love and attention there. Maybe it's children, maybe it's cousins you haven't seen in a while, maybe it's your parents, maybe it's closer friends that you just haven't seen. And I haven't used the dreaded word yet, but of course, everything has shifted again with recent rising levels of COVID infection. And so if you haven't reached out to be helpful and productive, this could be about just you finding good solutions to help people you care about, because there's a lot of things that are kind of getting rough, but you have that creative mind to really make some things happen, Scorpio. Okay, so we're going to move to the fire signs, Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, you have the 7 of Wands. And I think Sagittarians, when it comes to your relationships and love, this is the week where you sort of have to make a stand of sorts, that you may have been letting some things go. You may have been not even really dealing with aspects of your relationships, but maybe something has happened now and you have to kind of make a stand in some way. It could just be as easy as you actually saying, no, this is what I think the relationship is. I didn't know you felt that way. But it could also be saying too that maybe there's a particular rift going on, and if you truly feel you can't resolve this in some sort of sense of consensus, this card is probably saying you have to show why and how you have a better idea or a better position for this thing to happen on. So it's a little hard to throw totally into love and relationships because it sort of has this, kind of like I'm fighting for it, thing going on there. But I think that's what it is. Okay, Sagittarians. So then we're going to move on to the Earth signs and Capricorn. And Capricorn, you have a great week here, Capricorn. I think something's going on that really sort of indicates very high feelings of pleasure, possibly romance, possibly just really advancing your own sense of what you enjoy the most, where your emotions take to you when you really want to enjoy yourself. Is it how you spend time with a loved one and what you do in that regard? Is it how you show them you love them by gifts or by the time you spend with them? I think for Capricorns, this is going to be a really fulfilling time where you are totally getting into the emotionality of some of your closest relationships. So it's kind of interesting that all these cards are showing up as Mercury goes retrograde. You almost wonder if like maybe it's kind of like a masquerade and now, you know, we're revealing the mask, but it's different because it's Mercury retrograde. I don't know. Is it because Mercury retrogrades in Pisces? Closing out. Whoops, that was Capricorn, yeah. Closing out. Nope, we're not closing out yet. We're on to Aquarius. Air sign. Judgment. So Aquarians, you know, sometimes I feel you have some similarities with Libra. And so this kind of sort of shows that maybe to some degree, Aquarians, this is a week where you may really find there's some deeper analysis of your love life or your emotional life. Maybe you're really looking at a lot of what goes into your deepest friendships and wondering, you know, if you truly feel this way always, are you getting exactly what you want? Maybe this pertains to one very specific relationship. Maybe this pertains to just you against the rest of the world, i.e., it doesn't mean all the people you really know and associate with. It's more that concept, that over-cultural concept of the world, you know, that, you know, it's not somebody specific that you know it all, but it's really how you feel about the world. And maybe you feel like the world really needs to come to grips with its spiritual dimensions and what it knows. You know, you don't have to be a total religious believer. You can be an atheist, but realize that there's a lot of things in the world that need to be recalibrated. Judgment can also mean recalibration. I'm just going to leave that there, and we are going to conclude with our final card, Pisces from the water quadrant, the last water quadrant. And Pisces pulls the world. So that's so interesting considering we just had Judgment. And I really did shuffle the cards, honest. But Pisces pulls the world, and I think Pisces looks at love and emotions from a sense that is a little bit more from the world's point of view. So it's interesting because Aquarians were sort of looking at the world. Pisces are saying, no, I am the world. We are the world. Pisces might be feeling that all of the strong emotions that are going on right now about their relationships have reached a point where they feel they've kind of completed the round. They kind of feel like they have achieved what they really wanted. And a lot of this may be, like I said, more of a universal or unconditional love for everything in your own life, but maybe also for something even greater than that too. You know, the stars are changing and a lot of things are changing quicker than you might imagine. So it could just be something to do with that, you know, our spiritual evolution as a community that really has to learn how to come together. So that's what I have for the emotional exchanges. And like I said, get ready to watch us in February for Super Tarot Love Month. There'll be some surprises, but there'll also be a lot of love to share. So take care, everybody, and thank you again for watching. Don't forget to watch Banshee's show on Sunday at 10 a.m. And we'll be having happy hour once again tomorrow, Saturday the 15th. I'm sorry, the 14th no, that's the 15th. Happy hour on Saturday the 15th at 10 a.m.